What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. This is another build idea, of course. What else would I ever post in my entire life in existence? And today we're going to go with a pure magical build. And this was the funnest build I've ever done. It's honestly actually really fun. That sounded so sarcastic. It is not. It is really fun. It is maybe fun for me. I don't know how other people had fun fighting me. Mostly because I either one-shotted them or just pressured them constantly. There was some times I ran away. That was just to re-pressure immediately right after. And people seem to try to like pressuring wizards. It's the first thing I've noticed when watching other people play wizard builds, is that they'd be pressured constantly with like a dagger or something they couldn't get, and they couldn't get off any long spells. But the Farron flash swords is like the just like the big fuck you, stop pressuring me. They run away, you recast Crystal Soul Mass, and it's surprisingly hard to dodge. Not many people really knew how to dodge it. I guess maybe I was using it a lot better than most people. And this guy's a little laggy, but just spam that shit, like. And he switched to a dagger, so I did too. That's another way. Like, even some daggers are even too fast for Farron Flash Sword to actually pressure. So the dagger usually worked a lot. Eventually I switched it out because I wanted a dagger that was less weight, so that could be under 30 for the maximum distance rolls to even gain more distance to cast Crystal Soul Mass. Like I said, you cannot dodge this shit. Like, if you do, you're gonna get hit by something else. Like, there's like some people did dodge it. I'm not gonna act like it's the god ability, but sometimes you just get hit with something, and its presence is very intimidating. It causes people to mess up, is what I'm trying to say. You don't want the caster to have it, so you charge them, and if they do have it, you try to roll, which will be rolled catch by something of theirs. Look at this guy. He really didn't want me to have that soul mass. He tracked my ass down, and he just kept getting hit for it. They can still dodge a lot, especially like that. He dodged a lot of my flash swords. But then you just have a dagger for even quicker stuff. Right here, he just dodged everything. That thorns. It didn't do much damage, but to me it felt like he was doing something. And the one thing I noticed is if you're... Was he two-handing? I don't remember, but it seems like I just was able to attack a lot faster. And I think I was two-handing, he was one-handing, because he had his parry out. Some people I just immediately delete. I think this is one of them. When he doesn't... He just dodges that, but he gets caught by that. Yeah, you have to roll. Like, this is like kind of Dark Souls 2 logic, where the bow doesn't look like it hits you, but the bow hits you. The arrows are like out of existence, but they still hit you. And that's what made Dark Souls 2 so fun sometimes, was the fact that the bows were decent in that and actually useful. I don't think I've seen a useful bow build, which, now that I say that, I'm gonna have to make one. I know there's some out there, but I'm gonna have to try one myself, is what I'm trying to say. Especially since I recently discovered that the one bow you get from the Slave Knight Gale is like one of the best bows for finishing people off. Like, if you have low HP, you know, Tears of Denial, for some reason you survive like with 1 HP or below 100, that bow will kill you. You can dodge it, but it's just gonna destroy you. See, look at that. That guy got destroyed. He was trying to switch weapons to a better weapon to meet me, which, I've really been stuck in a debate of whether switching weapons is something I like to do. I do it, but I feel like if I see a great sword, I'm not going to switch to a dagger, because it just seems like the worst, like the most assholest thing you can do. I actually find that, like, you're just a douchebag for that. Like, come on. You're just going to poke once. That makes me want, that makes you rage. That's why if I ever see someone with a Ultra Greatsword, I sometimes switch to an Ultra Greatsword, because I like having those kind of fights where on almost even grounds. You're never going to be 1-for-1 even with somebody in this game. And I think spells really prove that. Think most builds, like Tears of Denial, which you only need to use like one stat upgrade and then a ring to have Tears of Denial, especially if you start as a knight. which starts with an attunement slot as well. Like 1 stat upgrade for a whole ability that you don't even need to have full stats for. You can just put on the ring, which gives you one of the best spells in the game as you survive. As long as the weapon doesn't do 2 hits, you basically survive. So if you get a backstab and this backstab does 1,000 damage, it won't kill you, even if you only have 2 HP left. I guess it only activates when you reach 1 HP, or is it 0? It's probably 0. That makes more sense. But some of the other spells are actually really good too, like Soul Mass and Soul Spear. Crystal Soul Mass and Crystal Soul Spear. Those 2 weapons together are the only way you can really use them, which they only cost 2 attunement slots because I think about 45 intelligence? 45 or 55, something like that. And they're really good. Together, you're gonna be like your bread and butter, and then if you want to add some, like the actual food, the main dish, Flash Sword, it basically completes your dish. Without that in your build, I don't think most mages could survive against aggressive opponents. Everything else, which you can have up to 5 to 6. If you want to add a ring, you can have 8 to 7, really, without much trouble. And if you want to add 2 rings, actually I think there's 3 rings. You can have so many spells, I just realized. But it was so hard for me to switch through only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I only had 5 active at most at a time. I was trying to switch through 8, which would be really great if you also got Farron Dart. Great Farron Dart. Those are really fast spells to punish people. Or Great Heavy Soul Spear, Great Heavy Soul Mass, whatever it is. It's just to punish people you know you're able to punish, like someone who drinks an Estus or something. The Farron Darts are more for like roll punishes, and it's really OP. Like this guy sadly was lagging a little bit, not there, but you'll see later. He just tanks stuff and he just doesn't worry about it, and I just trade with him in the end. And it's just my fault for thinking I could cast twice as fast as him. I still see it as a draw. I think if you both die, it's a draw. It is what it is. See, later I switched to the Court Wizard Staff, because this staff is technically the most damaging in the game if you were to use its weapon art to buff it and then cast the spells. But using your weapon art costs not much mana, but overall with this weapon, every spell costs more mana after that. I'm gonna call it mana instead of FP, focus points, whatever they're called. And I just didn't like that, especially with the very minuscule damage buff it gave compared to the Court Wizard Staff, which was about less than 100 damage, which could be the difference between finishing off an opponent in one shot or just them living by a tiny bit and you having to deal with Tears of Denial. Because even if you hit them with a Crystal Soul Mass and do 1200 damage, when they have quarter HP left, they're going to survive. So, I'm going to show you how the Homing Soul Mass really works. Crystal Homing Soul Mass is that when people have Tears of the Denial, they sometimes don't survive. I think this is one of the fights that you'll see how, because Soul Mass has 5 different attacks into one, and usually they all hit and count as 5 different attacks. So this guy, I actually don't know what he was doing. I thought he was going to try to run away until Soul Mass ran out of, I guess, duration, which I guess is a strategy. A really terrible, like, it definitely will work. It's definitely one of the scummiest things I could think of doing to a mage. But it would definitely work. Also, that combo, it should have hit. I don't know if it was a lag or just something that caused him to actually survive. Also, didn't do that much damage, but here it does a lot. See, only 2 of them hit him? I really don't know what happened there. I seen like a lot of damage for even Soul Mass, but it did do its job, so I'm not going to complain. And this is a great example of the Flash Sword and how some people who don't give too much, give like a moderate amount of pressure, go for the roll catches, really don't work with an aggressive spellcaster. They really haven't fought any that much. He just thinks I'm going to probably run away. He's destroyed. And I guess, people like rolling this game. Like, R1 spam, I don't really do it unless I know the player is decently good. Because decent players don't expect other players who seem decent to R1 spam. And it gives you 2 more free hits. Like, this guy, second guy in a row, I'll hit him 4 times here in a second. Because he thinks he's going to roll catch me when I hit him twice. I just hit him 4 times. They don't know why people don't roll away. You should always be rolling away. Unless you are 100% knowing that they will not just spam R1. Also, that was a nice jump. I actually messed up jumping, and I saw the opportunity, so I still attacked. And surprisingly, it comes out really fast. They don't expect you to have a weapon in your hand when there's a whole guess you would call that a cane? A spell cane? Sorcerers? I guess no, staff. What am I talking about? See, even that hits them. Like, you'll catch them sometimes with that. Then beat the shit out of them with a flash sword. Here, I should have just spammed it, but again, I didn't know what this player was doing. He tried to parry. You can parry the staff with Fair and Flash Sword. It is possible. Very unlikely, but possible. And here's what happens when you don't... This is when I started using other spells to cause even more commotion. See, you stun them with Homing Soul Mass and just destroy them with Crystal Soul Spear. It's so good. I don't like being a douchebag. I had to bow. And I have to bow backwards if I want my Soul Mass not to hit them while they're bowing. And here's where the big money happens. See, some fights are like... Most fights are really quick with this build. Some were too quick. I didn't include them. Like, for some reason, they ran directly at me, trying to stop me casting spells, and I casted them, and they just died, like, instantly. I showed you those two because back to back, because that's usually how those fights went. A montage. I'm definitely making a montage of all my builds, so they're definitely going to be in there. I've been saving some clips of previous builds, like the best ones, not the best, but really good gank spanks or other stuff like that, for a montage, which I will do. It will be hard, and I will not like editing it at all, but it will be there. And I might include stats for every build I've done near the end, so you can see what builds I use and stuff like that. But then again, I need you to just watch other videos, so I might just keep them in that videos. It'd be exclusive stats in the original videos. I like drawn out fights like this. It shows that he's being cautious while also being aggressive. And it makes me use my full category of spells. It's like one of the best fights I had, I think. I think impatience is what definitely got him. But then again, sometimes you have to be impatient with Spellcaster. And that's why I'll switch to being aggressive. Which most spellcasters don't. They just constantly run away. But being aggressive really confuses your opponent. And sometimes they're aggressive when they need to be passive, and sometimes they're passive when they should be aggressive. And it really is all about detecting small changes in your opponent's pattern. Like, this guy becomes a lot more aggressive, thinking he can outcast me with his bow, and it just doesn't work out for him. He does a good bit of damage, surprisingly. And then, I figured out a combo. The Hail really does catch people at low HP. If you're in the perfect spot, then you really can't roll out of it. You'll get roll catched. But I'll keep it quiet for this. A little quiet. I need to explain some of the stuff. So I'm trying to keep most of my builds at soul level 120. Just, I feel like it's probably the most common meta right now, and I just like it like that. I'll go higher if I see a lot more people using higher metas. Not sure. I don't research that much. I start off with 120 in the old days. But I'm basically using the dagger on my offhand is for extra damage. That's always great. There's not really much to this build besides the Core Sorcerer Staff or the Crystal Soul Staff, I think, or Crystal Staff. That's pretty much it. And Firekeeper stuff, leggings, all that. Just being under 30 is really nice. As long as it's 30 exactly or under. And the rings are just to increase damage and increase my stats, so I don't have to spend money, or I guess upgrade skill points on stats. It's great. The build's pretty cool. There's some cool combos you can do, you know, Soul Mass, Soul, and then Crystal Spear, stuff like that. The spells, Farron, Hail, and the my favorite would be the Farron Light Sword, whatever it's called, and Soulstream. Also, definitely really cool. I wish I could have used it more, but sadly, it just wasn't good, and that's what makes me sad. I forget what Soul Spirit is, but one of them's like the best. It's short casting time with huge amounts of damage. I never really used it that much. And Farron Dart would also probably be something really good to use for your roll catches and other kind of stuff. That's mostly the build. I enjoyed playing this build. It's definitely my favorite build, without a doubt. I'll probably be playing this when I am in a blank spot without any ideas. I might just record gameplay of it and learn how to do it even better. Just basically perfect this build. I don't think any of my builds are at what it could be. I don't think they're at their maximum greatness. I definitely think a couple were experimental. Just like I said, like the build name implies, it's a build idea. It can be improved upon. The stats could probably be moved around better. Even the armor and stuff. As long as it looks good to me, I'd keep it. If a build doesn't look good, no matter how good the build is, I probably won't use it. I just wasn't that kind of person. But I want to thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you in my next build.